Good morning, everyone. My name is Samantha Adams. I'm a senior lecturer at the Department of Industrial Psychology at Stellenbosch University. And this morning I'm just going to speak to you briefly about how I used gamification as part of my PhD study, which looks specifically at how we can use gamification to facilitate student engagement. So the first thing I want to ask is, how many people have played Monopoly or know about Monopoly? Okay, so if we look at the parts of Monopoly, what makes up that game? Streets, okay. Money. The rules. Okay, so the hotels, the houses, the streets, all of those things create a narrative or storyline that we work within. There's a constraint to where you are working. You have money. You have players, you have tokens that that represents each player. There are rules for how things should work. There are rewards, there are punishments within it. And the reason why I use Monopoly is because it's a very good example of how you can take a game apart into its various elements and look at how it's constructed. Okay, so when we look at gamification, what we are doing is we are looking at those individual parts and seeing where can we put them into an environment, or where can we use them in an environment that is not necessarily a game. And that is essentially what gamification is. Okay, so gamification is taking elements of a game thinking, game design, and using it in a context that's not generally considered a game, like education. Okay, so when we look at, so a lot of people confuse gamification with serious games or educational games. So there's certain differences between the two, and I hope that the example that I've used has illustrated those. Gamification is often used in collaboration or in conjunction. It's integrated into virtual reality systems or simulations or serious games, because what gamification actually does, or is meant to do, is to stimulate motivation and engagement. Okay, so if we look at the use of gamification as a pedagogy, it's actually underpinned by psychological as well as learning theory. So the psychological theories that you would often come across would be things like the theory of self-determination, which is about need fulfillment, and it says that individuals have a need for relatedness, so working with each other, collaborating. They have a need for competence, learning, developing their skill. They have a need for autonomy, deciding, volunteering to engage in certain environments. It's also strongly based on goal setting, as well as rewards and punishment. Well, not really punishment, but rewards in most cases. And motivation. Okay, because we are using gamification in conjunction with learning activities. So I think maybe the other thing I should mention is that gamification can be used in a classroom context as well as your learning management system. So as part of my study, I used it as part of a learning management system, and I had quite a big class. We had about 300 students that are registered for this class. And we needed to find a way to engage them and to get them to engage with the learning content, because we found that class attendance was pretty poor. So we wanted to find a way to, grab their attention and kind of hold them and encourage them to engage with the content. All right, so what you see here behind me is the game that we developed. As you can see, it doesn't have moving parts. It really uses pictures, and it's really using elements. So in the corner we have Chuck Choice, which is the avatar that we created for the game. Chuck Choice is a career consultant, and he is consulting with the student who is an intern at this firm, this career consulting firm. I think maybe I should have mentioned the module is called Career Psychology. So they deal with different theories around career psychology, different applications of it, and how individuals would use it. So this, we thought, would create an environment in which they could engage and actually see how they would practically apply it. Okay, so if I just move down the page, you'll see that we provide instructions for the game, which we created a little video. I'm not going to play it now. Just orientating them to what is the narrative or the storyline that they are working within. Okay, so what is the purpose of them doing this? We also made use of different levels. So each level, once you complete it, you are then a new recruit if you complete level 1. If you move to level 2, you are then seen as a rookie. And within each of these, there are certain learning activities that they would need to engage in. I can show you an example of one of the learning activities. So here we used a scorum package, and we created a challenge for them. So in the challenge, they basically need to watch a video. The concepts are explained to them. They can do this in their own time, at any stage. In the past, we used to impose very strict deadlines, but we found that actually doesn't work very well. So we said, whenever you are ready, the stuff is there for you. Make use of it, don't make use of it. It's up to you. Okay. And then, as part of this, there would then be a quiz. Okay. On everything that was covered in that short video. So it doesn't take anything away from the class, but it does emphasize the main concepts that students need to walk away from in the module, or walk away with in the module. Okay, we also had a performance appraisal, so that was the summative online quizzes that they needed to do. So, and then also bigger group work projects that they needed to do also as part of the game, which we refer to as a power-up challenge. So this really illustrates the way that gamification can be used in conjunction with other things that you are already doing or other learning activities. It can enhance engagement in multiple choice quizzes that you might have, or assessments that you would have on your learning management system. It can be used as part of group to, if you want to promote experiential learning or active learning or peer collaboration. Gamification is a tool that can be added to those activities in order to enhance and stimulate motivation and engagement with your student. If you have any questions, we can have a look at this in our smaller group discussions, and you are more than welcome to ask about the many pitfalls and challenges that come with making use of this approach, but also the many rewards that students are afforded if you do decide to invest in using this approach. Thank you.